Hi there, it's March 2021. I'm going to show you how to fix a Flexi leash. The cloth leash part attachment to the cord. Just because I didn't find it online, I found how to take this apart many times, but like the main retractable part in the leash, but not the actual cable to the handheld cloth leash part itself. This is one of the original Flexi leash. It says Flexi 2 long, and it's a cable version, and I'm sure it's applicable to other versions of the leash. Handle part attachment. What I mean is there's a little loop that separates out. Usually it's flat, and then you attach this end to your dog, and then this end goes to the cable part. What happened for me is just past this part where the cable attaches here and then goes to the handle part, paracord was starting to fray, so I just wanted to clean this area up and take the end of this and reattach it minus this little piece. I just wanted to show you how to do that process and cut the leash back a little bit and attach it to your cloth handheld part. I'm just going to retract this a little bit. Another thing I found useful is when you have it not attached to the clip, if you just want to make sure you're not going to hit the lock mechanism and have it slip back through, just take it through the handle and tie a knot onto here. But just so that it doesn't slip back into the retract, and then you lose your leash that way, and then you have to take this part apart and to find it or buy a new one. But I just fed it through and did a very simple once around there, and then a little bow so you can easily pull that out again. So this part, it seems like a solid piece. I have it sticking out a bit here, so it's usually like this. And I noticed that there's these little perforations here, there and there. So I knew there was something to deal with this, because this ends up being flush with the cable part. You can see looping around where this would attach in, like that. An easy way to take this apart is using a pretty common utensil, fork. What I did was stick this between the edge. There's a little lip around the edge, all around here. Stick that into the edge and pried it out. Once this side started coming out, it was still clipped in, went to the other side. Stick it in the edge and pry out this piece, and what happens is it comes apart like this. And this is a hollow piece here. And this goes straight through. The cable goes straight through here. And the edges of this piece that go into there have these little clips, and that's what clips onto these pieces here. These little clips here, that's what I'm talking about. Barely visible, but it is enough to grab onto the tension clasp. And this is tied with a pretty simple set of knots. I'll show you how to take those apart. So this is a slip knot mechanism. Comes apart like that. You might have to, I found just giving this movement will loosen up these knots. This knot here is holding this knot secure underneath. So when it comes apart, it's like woven through this direction. This piece slides up and covers that. So I'm going to undo this knot. And that's the end of the cable tie section. So once this is undone, you can then take off the piece that's been cut through by pulling this from the leash handle end forward through, cut that end off. And what I did was, this is paracord, so it has an exterior cloth sheath. This is an exterior braided piece, this black piece, and on the inside of this black piece is a white set of threads that run through the cable, causing a different set of tensions and strength to it. But because it's a nylon-based material, you can hit a lighter to it and melt the end off a bit, and then you can just squeeze it with your fingers to make it more shaped like the cable itself. So that keeps the interior and exterior of the paracord from detaching from itself and stop it from fraying as well. So once I cut the length that I needed, removed the piece that was frayed, you can see it here. That's the interior piece of the paracord that I melted back to the exterior. But when you're taking it apart, you can just also just cut the knots and remove the piece. You got to take note of which direction it's going through this L-shaped bracket. So feed it through back the little hole here, and this is where the L bracket would sit into. Feed that through first. Then I would hold it the direction that it feeds into the holding case. Put that through the one hole that exists on this side. It wraps around this way. The handle of the leash. The actual handle, there's a clip and there's a handle here at the other end of the cloth part. And that handle is what feeds through the cord. So that would end up looking like this. Then I would do my knot on the end of the paracord. I leave it a little loose at first, just in case you make any mistakes. Just trying to cinch the bottom knot up to the knot on the end of the cable. Because there's quite a small space inside that L shape to set these two knots like that. And you want to make sure this loop kind of comes down all the way. And I'm just, by pulling this, tightening that part. Make sure it's sitting in the grooves along the side between the clips that tie in. And you take this part and move it up along. And pressing the knots into place inside. And then this just goes into the holder so that until they clip in. Takes a little bit of finger strength to push it in. But now it's clipped in. It won't come out again unless you put your fork down into that space. Here's a close-up of what that looks like. Take your fork, and it just runs alongside the cable here. And that's how it comes out. So I'm going to press it back in, pull the cable tight. And that's how you reattach your end of your leash. You can then undo your bow tie down here. And there you go. You have a new piece of cable. Any little kinks like this. This is from knots that I tied in and undid. They'll eventually work themselves out. That's it. Hope you enjoyed my explanation of how to do a new tie-in to your Flexi cable leash.